the north side, which includes the oak woods that supports one of the roost sites, the brand new prairie that was just planted as it was July 19th. They seeded it. We planted plugs on the 20th and have kept them watered. I'm also, when we get to the end of the road there, I'll explain what's happening on this side briefly, and we'll go from there. So. Yeah, 5 o'clock. No, 5:30. I'm sorry. Oh. And where did that go? Yes, that was. You had it. Oh, when you climb out. Oh, right. We have to mark the right. I think the Underwood Parkway. And or you can go to Orange Avenue or Menominee River Parkway. So if you right. Into the sun. Looks like there's a vehicle that wants to leave. So if everybody would come to one side just to allow that vehicle to go. With all the construction, nobody said this wouldn't be a challenge. But I appreciate everybody's patience during the construction. The old trail. This was the Glen and the Oak Woods, and the Glen is going to be restored. It's undergoing extreme invasive species removal right now. You can see all the teasel that's been killed, but it will lead to the North Berm, which will remain. Again, the monarchs so need these low depressions out of the wind, filled with nectar plants, and also high points where they can test the wind, head south for the winter. So the fact that we're keeping all of this is really great. If you look that way, Swan Road, of course, it's going to go over the highway, and this old Swan Road will be torn out, and we get that planted natural. That's going to be an extension of our area, as well as an underpass under the new bridge of the Swan Bridge, so that you'll be able to walk to the DNR Woods. So you've got these wonderful connections now. And even though we're surrounded by construction, there's so much dust and chaos going on every time we're here working on Tuesdays and Thursdays. These monarchs are right in the opening there, and in the evening they're testing the oaks, so the behavior's there. I do need to say that the numbers are down significantly. Last winter they were down by 50%, 59% in Mexico, which was 59% lower than the year before, which was an all-time low. So we have to know that any migration we get is going to be almost, you won't even be able to tell. But the behaviors are still there. They're still relating to this site, the few that there are. So that's all good. And again, the future of the site, even though it looks bad now, most of what remains is going to be planted, restored, butterfly friendly, native species. And something I told the first group, the Department of Transportation for the entire zoo interchange has revised the seed mixes to include 10% common milkweed and additional forbs, which are the asters, goldenrod, etc., for the migration. So all of the acreage that they're going to throw seeds on is going to be natural, and it's going to support monarchs and all of the pollinators that benefit from that same set of plants. So positive things.
Do we know why the numbers are so low?
Loss of habitat.
Okay.
This is like a microcosm of what's happening everywhere else. And we have to look 3 years out for all of the restoration.
If I don't look.
So when the DOT needs seeds for this project, they're going to be coming from here, within a 100-mile radius of where they're going to be planted. The seeds have to be collected, so that's we're doing a lot. Yes, dear.
How long do we wait?
Right before they pop.
Just before they pop?
Just before they pop.
Okay.
Yep.
And don't collect them in a plastic bag.
Right. Paper.
They'll get moldy.
Paper, not plastic.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Did they take a lot of the forest away? There's a lot of
I'll
trees.
explain what happened here. This looks kind of like what in the world. Everything that was in here that made it look so thick was buckthorn. Oh. And there are understory plants, including prickly ash and witch hazel and all of the other wonderful oak savanna plants that will return. Some of them there are remnants of them still here that will take off again now that the buckthorn is out. There are also spring ephemerals, wild leek and trillium and all of those things that were in here prior to the buckthorn. And now that the buckthorn is gone, we anticipate much of that will be restored. I want to give just a quick, this area is where the monarchs want to spend the night in fall because of the protection of the oaks. It's a big open circle. It's surrounded by nectar plants. The evening sun hits the horizon and in they come. And like I said, the past few years we have had very few. But even if you see one or two, they're going to end up right in here, oftentimes on the lower limbs. Another thing I wanted to mention about this remnant oak savanna is that there are two butterflies that need plants that are on the edges of woods. The great spangled fritillary and the giant swallowtail eat, their host plant is violets and prickly ash. And because the buckthorn took over, those two butterflies disappeared because the two host plants were missing. So we will be able to regain two lost butterfly species that were on the county grounds up until about 2005. And by restoring this oak woodland with all of the appropriate plants that used to live here, we'll get our butterfly species back that are native. So, all right.
How will you keep the buckthorn from coming back?
There is a company managing it. UWM is paying Merrick Company to do it. They do fabulous prairie restoration, native landscaping. They know what they're doing. So, yep, absolutely. All right, on through the woods. Look at all the people. This is wonderful. Fred's Forest Loop. I will introduce everyone to Fred as soon as we get back to home base. Because Fred has taken care of all of these paths. He's sort of like the little workhorse on the Tuesday Teasel Task Force. Jason is our tech guy. We're out here every Tuesday and Thursday, Sundays, working on things, and Fred comes out, he clears the paths, he's mulched things, he's out here at 5:30 on Sunday morning. And it's just like, I know, but there a lot of deer still come through, walk the corridors, go through that wetland, come back through the woods here. Almost every evening we'll see a couple of bucks or whatever, so they're still utilizing the site. You can see all the buckthorns starting to come back up again. In fall, he'll probably spray again, and fall is the time when it takes all of the chemical down into the ground. So we should be able to get that wiped out in a year or two. It was a huge job that they did clearing this, and a lot of people have noticed, you know, it's breathing again. But you've got oak species, you've got the one with the potato chip kind of bark here is chokecherry, another host plant for a lot of different butterflies, the tiger swallowtail, many of the Polyphemus cecropia moths. There's also, on the other side of the woods, there is a black maple, which is very rare. You just don't see them, and it's got a unique leaf, but it's a beautiful tree just tucked in between a couple of the oaks. So just a neat little historic remnant here that serves a huge purpose, and the fact that it also, you know, serves the monarchs as one of the roost areas, it just makes for an exciting trail. When we get up over the hill, you'll see the whole new prairie that has been seeded, and I'll let you know what's blooming out there. perennials. There's garlic and rhubarb and onions and everything else that had been here that had taken over. So little by little they worked it, they subsoiled it, which means they're aerating the soil all the way from here to the road, and then they seeded it with a prairie crop. What you're seeing right now is the cover crop, the thing that grows fast to hold the soil in place. Usually when they do cover crops, they do annual rye, which is just grass. And we asked if it could be something blooming. And so they planted buckwheat and flax. So for the fall, the butterflies will have a little bit of something to eat if they do happen to come through. We've been seeing this filled with honeybees and obviously dragonflies and everything else. But yeah, the next 3 years, the prairie is going to start to become established. So this will disappear and the prairie plants will come in. It's going to take a lot of monitoring, a lot of maintenance. We're hoping to get prescribed burns out here, essential to prairie establishment. So we're working with the City of Wauwatosa and the Milwaukee Regional Medical Complex trying to get everybody on board. And this is going to be a couple of years and a lot of advocacy to get a prescribed burn out here to maintain this prairie so it doesn't become an open field of rats. You know, so that's our next effort, is to try and get this to be first established and then maintained in its natural way with these prescribed burns. So onward from here.
Hey Barb,
Yeah.
am I correct in understanding this is the only place in Milwaukee County at the equinox you can see the sun setting and the moon coming up at the same time?
Yeah, there's a couple of spots that we're going to be able to see that. Probably further forward when the woods is clear, when you're clear of the woods. There are a couple of vistas that we retain. Even though we lost the vistas to the east from the north berm because of all the construction, there's a couple here that we're going to put on the Leopold bench, et cetera, so that people can have a view of the Milwaukee skyline. Well, I'm thinking if it's
I know. Yeah, I wait for
I missed the
So that's why I'm thinking maybe this is like, and I know the, a lot of times the helicopters so I figure I'm pretty much in line.
Yeah, see, I guess you are, for sure. Yeah. It's gone a couple times today already, while we were there. That's good. Especially like when the blue moon was coming up the other day.
Oh, I was out for a walk, and I live right near the park, and I was just, oh, I know, it was the Thursday night. We had a concert over in the park, and by the time the concert ended, it was dark, and I was walking home, and that moon was coming up. It was just great.
I know just what did she say? These are out for the flax and what else?
buckwheat.
There's a small vista point here. We're going to put one of all the Leopold benches and maybe, shrubbery or whatever. There's going to be a secondary trail that comes out of the DNR woods, the underpass, that'll go closer to Swan. And that will reroute bicyclists or whatever. This is going to remain a tramp trail so that people can learn and take pictures and enjoy without the constant bicycle coming through. So it'll split at the under the bridge so that you've got a walking trail and a bicycle trail. The bicycle trail and sidewalk will also have a beautiful view of downtown Milwaukee. Where, like I said, we're going to put something here so that people can sit and look at the skyline. You can see it around the other side of the tree when we go around. And it really is, it's kind of a beautiful spot to sit because even though you're surrounded by development, and a big road, you wouldn't really know. that came out and we put poles in this area here, and then came back out and kept them watered, and they all took. Now, part of the problem is the buckwheat is hiding everything, but you can see the little blazing star here. You can see the aster here. Here's another New England aster here. That's ground cherry? Is it ground cherry? That's just a weedy thing.
Don't get too excited about it.
The blue line was actually our route to the water tanks to keep it all watered so that people wouldn't walk all over the place. We also went over to the Milwaukee County Parks Department, and there was a big circle of a pollinator garden. And because of the construction and everything, they're going to rip that all out. So we went and we rescued a whole mess of these plants, and they are in here too. And actually, as we get a little further up, you'll see the big tufts of boneset and some of the asters and other things that we did plant. So we rescued a little part of that pollinator garden and stuck it out here. Great. So here is our new, one more, sorry. The bioinfiltration system. From where the road is this way, you'll see as you get closer, these dips. That will all be, that's water, stormwater retention. It's all going to be planted with native plants, monitored and maintained as natural area. So the fence there, when it's gone, you won't see a difference between the prairie and the bioinfiltration system. So it will be beautiful. The other side of the road, that hill, is part of the county parkland, and they needed to regrade it to make the road go through. And right now they have that lovely rye cover crop, but it too will be planted with native prairie plants in fall. So we'll have a beautiful view of the side of a hill that's planted natural. So every little inch, every little inch. Yeah, there are people that tent. Not during construction.
So that's like once
Yeah, probably. Until the Discovery Parkway is open for traffic.
that's what that road is.
Yeah. We're patient, and we've had to wait through this construction, and it's ugly.
So if we
But
wanted to come and see the butterflies,
Tuesdays, Thursdays, 6:15. We come out, we're working, the gate is unlocked. People are, afternoon. On the 19th of September at 5:30, we're having another event where it's just a hike. The butterflies might be coming through at that point. We want to open it up again for the public, and it's a full moon. So we want people to come back out.
What time?
It will be, yes. 6 o'clock. The monarchtrail.org. Yep. All right.
Can I just ask,
Yeah.
is this buckwheat or
Buckwheat.
And so where's
The flax is this
Oh,
one.
okay, that's what
Yep.
I'm walking around.
Oh, look at our little asters. It's coming. We kept them alive. Yep.
Yeah, I'm
It's great.
and that stuff was just
Another non-native species.
Smart wheat. It's a host plant for poppers. If you hold, just tell them to hang on up there. I'll catch up with them in a second. I just want to make sure that the next group gets
they scared us because it's suspicious.
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, butter and eggs.
Butter and eggs.
Oh, butter and eggs. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like happy they wouldn't have planted that. No, there are.
No running.
Yes, that's going to be the new road, and you've got a much clearer view of this bioinfiltration system here. They've already laid a lot of, it's engineered soil, it's engineered rocks so that the water filtrates down through, but it can be planted, which is what we're going to emphasize. The seed mixes are ready. It's a matter of making sure they don't become invasive species.
So where does that second road go? Seems like there's a road going this way.
That's the path to the parkland. It's going to be a trail up to one of the trailheads into the County Grounds Park. I think it's a little excessive. But
Funny is like the rest of the
did you find any?
No, there's not.
No, I'll bet you somebody found one.
Some worms.
Yes. All right. This we call Merrick's Meadow. It was a beautiful meadow up till about 2005, and once again buckthorn took over. All of the goldenrod and asters and everything else that was in here were gone. And Mike came through. He took all of the buckthorn down. He left it lay, which creates wonderful habitat for little critters. And that was 3 years ago. And with the exception of some of the grapevine that we have to work on, and there's some wild parsnip that we're going to work on, it's coming back, and it's going to be beautiful. And as you get to the top here, there are 2 benches, all the Leopold benches done by scouts. They used to be at the other trailhead. They're here now. One of them faces east and is a perfect view of the Milwaukee skyline. And the other, you can watch the colors of the clouds. It faces the other way. So it may not be a sunset type thing, but it's a great place to stop and rest. And this area has been filled with those little pearly crescent spot butterflies, host plant asters.
Still.
I was going to say, they're only a few blocks from your house. Which is going to be wonderful for your kids, for sure. Come on, baby.
I feel filled up stinky format. I feel filled up stinky
Hey, look. Yeah, he wanted to sit down.
We're all the kids.
Slightly.
If I go up with them to tell them that I found the city
Quite a story. I love to hear that.
Every year it gets fuller.
It gets a little better.
Yeah, it does. All right.
Yeah, I know.
Caleb! Let's stop right there. That'd be great. He is excellent. Yeah, we're following. Alright, so where it all started. Our dear sycamore tree.
Wait for everybody, huh?
I will.
Yes, dear boy. Come on over. Make more room.
How many years old?
Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that kind of a tree? Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty wide trails around the sides. Yep.
Like the old buildings? Right. But they're neat.
Cool.
You can go on CBS Sunday morning and look that article up and see it. We've got time to do it. It's really
All right, just a few more people and we should be good here. Yep.
I hate to be the guy that you can't hear
All right, this sycamore is where the whole thing started. The whole preservation effort, where I first started coming in 1998, 99, and started seeing the monarchs roosting underneath in the understory of this tree. Couldn't quite understand it, and there were hundreds of them, more of them landing in the dead branches on the bottom underneath this canopy on drizzly nights. So there'd be dog walkers and they'd be looking at me like, what are you looking at? Because they look like dead leaves. And once pointing them out, they saw them. It was just, you know, they had to pick their jaws up off the ground and everything else. So they come to this site for a number of reasons. The whole county grounds, this part is way up high. The elevation draws them. The Menominee River coming south, all of the plant material that they need as resource for nectar plants, they follow that waterway south. They don't turn east when the river turns east, so they all ended up right here on this highest point in both the oak woods and in this little grove of trees. They've discovered that with the monarch migration, the areas that have been consistent roost sites have similar characteristics. A big U of trees open to the north with one big tree in the middle. And a filmmaker came in 2006 who had never been here before. She took a look and she knew exactly where they roosted just by this arrangement of trees. So this is the tree. MMSD was going to take it down with the basins and everything else, and we went in there and said, no, you can't. And they said, well, we don't need it for our project, so we'll leave it. And of course, little by little, everybody still wanted it, and we kept pushing back. When UWM purchased the land, a butterfly group was created with Sue Borkin from the museum, Jim Reinertz from UWM. We preserved an 11-acre parcel that includes this roost area, the oak woods, and everything in between, as specifically for the monarchs. Was it enough? Is it enough? No. That's why the bioinfiltration systems are going to be planted natural. That's why ABB and the new construction and the new companies are going to be putting in all native landscapes. It needs to be a seamless continuum. They need to offset the footprints with natural plantings and not mowed lawn. So we need to continue to push that. It's, you know, it's still new to some developers for some reason that mowed lawn is not functional. But the migration generally occurs between the last week in August and the end of September. Because it's a migration, it's they come and they go. They stop, and when there's weather that gets them to build up, they'll end up staying here, and you'll get more and more. In 2006, when the basins came and the parkland came, there was no milkweed, no nectar plants, nothing there. So since 2006, we have seen just handfuls of monarchs, no major roosts. We can just keep working toward restoring the parkland, including prescribed burns, getting the basins functioning as natural area, all of this prairie, and everything in between the new buildings to help draw them in and be able to use this as how they had historically used it. So the sycamore, we found pictures from 1937, aerial views of the buildings, and there's this innovative sycamore tree behind a building that was in front of this. So it is at least that old, which is very old for this type of tree, fast-growing type of tree, kind of unheard of planting it here back in those days. And up here on the hill, it has been quite resilient. We don't know how long it'll last, but UWM is, it's in the description that they have to plan for when it goes, and I'm hoping to get that rolling soon. But the Tuesday Teasel Task Force is out every Tuesday, every Thursday, 6:15. If you want to come out and see if there are monarchs out here, and those would be the days that the gate is opened through September. And on the 19th of September, come to our Monarchs Over the Moon hike. Just enjoy the sight, watch the moon rise. We'll see if there are any monarchs. There may not be, but we're hopeful. We're looking 2, 3, and 4 years out here. And thank you, everybody, for the support, for the patience, for wanting to learn about it, and knowing just how important it is. Thanks. Thank you.
If you want to read about monarchs, go to monarchwatch.org. That's the University of Kansas, and they're the universal experts on monarchs. And they're the ones that have been doing the count down in Mexico. They've been doing the count. Monarchwatch.org. You'll see the signs around you.